It's not every day that we see the under 17 of the Nigerian women's team lose a game, whether it's friendly or whether it's competitive game. But yesterday we saw them being defeated 4 goals to 1 by the Canada national team, and this was a very big surprise to everyone. I was actually very surprised that we conceded that amount of goal. First half was, a little bit balanced because it ended 1-1. But then we came later on in the second half, and then I don't know what we were doing. Obviously, we were sleeping, that we conceded 3 goals without replying any in that second half. It's really sad to see the girls, especially when you consider the work that they've put in prior to this competition starting. They actually played a lot of games, more than 10 friendlies, and they won emphatically in these friendlies. They were scoring goals for fun, scoring a lot of goals. They were not beating teams by 1-0, 2-0. They were beating teams with 4-0, 6-1, all those kind of scoreline, huge margins. But then when it matters the most, it kind of feels like the girls took their foot off the pedal. But it's not the end of the road for them. They still have 2 games in the group stages of the World Cup under 17. The next game is also expected to be very difficult against the France under 17 women's team. That game is coming up uh, next tomorrow, being Wednesday. And then their last game is against Samoa, which is on the 25th, which, I mean, I think that one is going to be relatively easier. But I mean, for them to qualify, we have to expect to win these 2 games against France, no matter how difficult it's going to be, and then against Samoa, and then see what happens, with all the other fixtures. But again, I still have belief in these girls. I know that on a good day, uh, they can win any side. I didn't watch that game, so I cannot really say what really happened. Maybe it was mistakes here and there, because sometimes if you lose focus for even 1 minute, you can get punished, and then the game can really go badly for you. Let's hope that that's the case, and then they can, really bounce back in the next game. Well, guys, let's move on to other important news. Of course, the Nigerian Football Federation, the NFF, are now trying to see how they can compensate Kucherek Shaw, or add some kind of benefit or uh, incentive to him for virtue of him qualifying the Super Eagles, or helping us to actually qualify in the group, in the playoffs, sorry, of the FIFA World Cup uh, 2026. So that's what has now happened right now. The report is that he had a conversation with the NFF, and they reached an agreement of a new bonus plan for him. And then there's also a promise that he's going to be paid his wages, his salaries, the ones that are outstanding, the ones that are supposed to be paid already that haven't been paid. He has also received their backing that they will clear that up, so that he goes into the games coming up in mid-November with full confidence, full what's it called, full joy or happiness in his mind. Because obviously, if you're working, you need to be seeing the money, you need to be getting paid so that you will be happy. You can't just be doing jobs for free and then they're owing you wages upon wages and bonus upon bonuses, and they're stockpiling it, and you're not really seeing the money coming to your account. So that's how it is right now. They're trying to really please Kucherik Shaw, because he's obviously done a good job so far, so good. No one expected him to be in this position to take us close to the World Cup as it is right now. There's still a long work to be done, which is why the NFF are thinking that, hey, this is actually a good time to to support Kucherik Shaw, to give him that right motivation, monetarily, so that he can keep going, keep pushing, and try to get us to the finish line. But it's not just for Kucherik Shaw. There's also um, some talks that the Super Eagles of Nigeria would also, that's the players, would also be entitled to some bonuses for being in the playoff. All of these are basically geared towards encouraging the players and giving them the right motivation for them to keep pushing, and and give everything in the playoffs to qualify us to the World Cup. And Kucharik Shaw has actually been receiving a lot of good praises from top stakeholders in the NFF. The NFF president, but a few days ago, that was after we qualified to the playoffs, he came out to say some really positive things about the coach, which obviously ensured us that Coach Eric Shell will not be leaving the job anytime soon. This is what the president of the NFF, in the person of Gusau Ibrahim, President Ibrahim Gusau, this is what he said about Coach Eric Shell. He said Eric Shell came in despite the fact that a lot of people have some reservations. But thank God, till now, at least he has justified to Nigerians why he can be the coach of the Super Eagles. Forgetting about all the friendly matches and other things, we talk about the World Cup qualifiers. He handled 6 matches, he won 4 and drew 2. If we had some little resemblance of that in the first 4 matches, we could have not been where we are today. So that's the little bit of positive coming from the NFF's chairman concerning Coach Eric Shaw. We hope, I mean, he gets what he truly deserves, the bonuses, the incentives to keep pushing, because obviously, if someone does a good thing, it's always good for you to tell them that they did something good. In the same way, if they do something that is not good, you also tell them. So I think the man really deserves it, and also the players as well. But again, there's also a very important reaction coming out also from the NFF, but this time is the ex-president or the former president of the Nigerian Football Federation, the person of Amodu Pinnick. He has now come out to directly verbally attack, or verbally respond to the sports minister of South Africa, who, if you remember the last 1 or 2 videos, I let you guys know that he came out and was venting all of these hateful remarks about him not wanting Nigeria to qualify. He said a lot of strong words, which obviously kind of begged the question: is this still about football, or is something else? The way he sounded. And then Amadou Pinnick has come out to say some things that is also very interesting. I'm going to read it out and then we'll react to it. Amadou Pinnick said, if it is the wish of God that Nigeria should qualify for the World Cup, the South African sports minister's careless statement cannot stop it from happening. It is unfortunate to have someone like Mackenzie appointed a minister in a developed, civilized country like South Africa. I know several people in South Africa who are knowledgeable in football matters who will not speak with such hatred like Mackenzie. The South African Football Association, SAFA, I am sure, are aware that it was their mistake that led to the FIFA deducting 3 points from Bafana, and have owned up to the error. Why then should a sports minister decide to put the blame for the consequences on Nigeria? I would rather say that this minister is an ingrate for not thanking Super Eagles for defeating Benin Republic in Uyo. He didn't realize that if Benin had won or drawn the match in Uyo, South Africa would not be the beneficiary of the Group C direct qualification ticket for the World Cup. So that is the reaction or the response from Ahmad Jupini, the former NFF's president, which is obviously coming right on point, hitting the nail on the head the way we want it, the way like every Nigerian would really want it done. Obviously, because the way he said it, it kind of felt like it was something more than just football. And Amadou Pinnick made a very important point here by stating that someone of that caliber, someone of that status, occupying such a very important position or role in the country, uh, not just in sports but also in politics, because he's a minister, should not should not be so naive or so foolish to make that kind of statement, because obviously that kind of statement can incite some kind of reaction among the people. You cannot be occupying that kind of space and then you're saying something like that about another nation. There's a way, even if you don't like Nigeria, I think there's a way you could have come out and said it. It will still drive your point home, right? People will still understand that, yes, you don't like Nigeria, you don't support them, but you will not sound very hateful or very, very mean the way that you sounded. That's what I think. And I'm really glad that Amadou Pinnick, is able to stand up to react to this kind of comment. But let's move on, guys, and talk about the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Of course, they are preparing for their, Nations Cup qualifiers. The first match is on the 24th. Today is already 20th of October. So 4 days from now, they have a date against Benin Republic at home in Togo. So the camp is already open. We've started to see one or two players trickle in as coach Justine Madugu, you know, has started preparing the squad, trying to get them in the best shape for this game. So from the camp right now, we have up to like eight players who have now arrived in camp. We're talking about the likes of Asisa Toshola, Taiwo Afolabi, Folashade, Ijami Lucy, Miracle Yuseni, Joy Omenwa, Adeline Mbechi, Blessing Ilivieda, and then we have Kafayat Mafishere. So these are the eight players that are the early birdies in camp, and we expect more of these players to continue to come in, as the day goes by. It's going to be very interesting. This is a match that they have to win, for them to progress into the Nations Cup, and of course, also that presents them with the chance to qualify to the FIFA 2027 Women's World Cup that will be hosted in Brazil.